And then the visualization of GeneXus IDE among the miscellaneous we wanted to tell you about. For example, we want to show you how we see now a table associated to a transaction. If I have a transaction and a folder of associated table, and it's not an object as we saw before. We have access to this manager from the help option of the IDE. And this is interesting, the for each command. We have two new clauses that skip on the account, and they have been thought to make pages. So the skip clause specifies how many records I want to skip, and then with the count I specify how many I want to show. The next page, how many it will have. In this for each, I tell it skip X registers. I put skip X, and if I want to show 10, I say count 10. Question: how do you implement that in the engine for the database of the database? Well, I have been the select and the clauses, and it says how to make a page. Each database has its pages. You will hear the sentences, and the generation may be different, but what it's going to recover is precisely that group of registers from the database. It brings that page. Yes, that you see it in the code that is generated. This is something that was already in the data provider, etc. And now it's been added in the for each. This is something we had in the for each too. We had in the for each the unique clause, and now we have it at the level of the grid. So I have the property, and I can tell it whether I want the attributes to be unique. And this is at the level of the transaction, is when we set the property data provider true, and we can populate the data automatically. Data provider is created that we can program, and automatically it's called when we execute. When we do S5 for the creation, it is loaded in the KB. In the KB you are seeing, we have used this feature. The call is automatic or not? Well, what happens is that this course comes from GeneXus 15 U0 up to GeneXus 16, so we've had upgrades during these months, and these things may be upgrades of the version 15 that were not released with the version. The daytime data is now supported by milliseconds, and for all this that we are saying about external storage, we have an API storage that allows me to manage the files that are in the repository in the cloud. And for this, we have the possibility of creating a new method. And then this is for Android, which has also been created. And if a video is in the URL, I use these variables which allow me to say where it starts. I take it into account, and I can reproduce a video not from the beginning but from a specific position. And then the blob file data type, which is the one I told you about. It's like the blob, but it's different in the way in which the data are stored, and this is what the external storage needs.